bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum rum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum. Hello, my friends. Great to see you all. Wonderful Monday night. Love it. Look forward to this every single Monday night. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and every single Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time for many years, I have not counted it exactly, about 12 years, I've met with you to teach you homeopathy. And my special, I don't know if it's exactly mine, but a specific brand of homeopathy where we use some protocols, French protocols, boron products. I teach you that. I teach you some Banerjee protocols. And we get into it so that you understand how to use homeopathy. And for those of you who already know me, welcome, friends. Hi, Bob and Deb. Nice to see you. From Kentucky, and we have Toronto and Los Angeles and Lancaster County, Wisconsin, Western Australia, Oklahoma, another Wisconsin. It's great to see you all here, my friends. This is an interesting subject tonight because a lot of times people ask me, what do you do if you're treating an animal? I mean, does homeopathy work for animals? And for those of you who are old-timers here, you know the answer. The answer is resounding, of course. Yes, homeopathy works for animals. And what's lovely about it is that then it can't be questioned as to whether or not it's placebo, right? Because we know homeopathy is not a placebo. Placebo is an important aspect of scientific study of medicine. But when a homeopathic medicine acts, it acts, especially with certain protocols, repetitively. And we can see reproducible results. So, tonight I want to talk about animals. And I don't know if you see, yeah, she's a little shy, Floozy. Her full name is Influenza. She's shy, and she still wears a mask because this poor chicken is freaked out. She's forever frightened. She worries about every little thing, and then she's just very unsure of herself and unsure of whether or not she could ever go out into the world and be a part of the world at hand, whether it's in the barnyard or it's out in the woods or even in my own home. So that's what, she just is she's very, as I said, she's timid, and she will rarely go anywhere without her mask. So let's talk about that. I plan to do a lot more on the flu that little Floozy might be susceptible to, if you know what I mean, in the future. We're not going to talk about that tonight, but we will talk about it in the near future. I'm not even sure that I'll do it on this platform. It may have to be a closed platform such as Joette's Mighty Members. And so, my friends, I do urge you, it's very inexpensive to join Joette's Mighty Members, and because it's a small price to pay to get information that I'm not willing to put out to the general public. So, let me say that if you are interested in learning how to treat animals, if you have a barnyard full and you are essentially trying to reduce your veterinary bills, you're going to want to study a little bit more in depth than what I'm going to tell you tonight. Obviously, right? It is important that you know how you're treating an animal. And so I had someone tell me today that sometimes it can be harder to treat an animal because you don't know what they're thinking. But I have to tell you that that is a more classical way of approaching a disease, a condition, a case, an animal. And because classical puts a lot, how much do I say? An enormous a gobsmacking amount of value on the thinking of the person. And I'm going to tell you I don't. If it is a psychological condition, that's where we're going to put the weight. If, however, it's a snake bite on a horse, or if it's an ear infection in a dog, or if it's a hernia in a kitten, we are not looking for the psychological aspect. If it shows, if it's there, by all means, use it. But if it's not, we're not going to try to get into the head of the animal. So, I want to start with that. Because many times people say, well, how can you know what remedy it is if the animal also doesn't speak to you? This is the best part of homeopathy. Well, there are many good parts. One of the many aspects of homeopathy that we can sink our teeth into, and that is our power of observance. We need to be able to observe. Our keen observational skills need to be developed. And in fact, let me also say parenthetically that when you're taking a case of, let's say, your 12-year-old child, we don't want you asking, are you hot? Are you cold? Are you thirsty? Is it painful? What does it feel like? Instead, I want you to just observe. If it's painful, your 12-year-old or the puppy or the horse or the llama will let you know. You won't miss it. You will know. If they're cold, you'll see that they're cold. They'll be shivering, or you'll touch them and you can feel their coldness. If they're hot, they'll move away out of the sun and they'll toss off covers. If they're frightened, they may cower. They may pace. So what we're looking for is what is obvious, my friends. Now, I have to tell you that I have a course called Cool Kids. Cool Kids Homeopathy, and if you're interested, you can go to joetteslearningcenter.com and scroll down to Cool Kids. And it's all about, I teach children how to observe their pets and their livestock and learn how to use homeopathy for their animals. And I've had many adults take that course. It's not very expensive, and it's interactive, somewhat. I mean, I'm not there any longer. I recorded it, so it is a recorded course. But it is an excellent way to get started to learn how to use homeopathy for animals. Now, let me also say that in this book, My Survivalist Guide to Homeopathy, there is not a section on animals per se, but there are issues that animals come up against on a regular basis. What are those issues? Well, most animals live outside, right? So they are prone to bites, snake bites. They are prone to bee stings. They're prone to lacerations and being punctured on a fence. They're prone to an animal attack where it's more than just a bite. It is an all-out attack where the dog perhaps might be left suffering greatly. And so in this book, in Survivalist Guide to Homeopathy, I teach you exactly how to use the homeopathic medicines for conditions that are rather extreme. Not just struck by lightning, not just having nearly drowned, not just having been bitten by a snake, but also how to deal with conditions such as severe illness, yellow fever, etc. So I wanted to share that with you should you want to go that far. This is all up to you, my friends, of course. So people often say, so how do you treat an animal? Well, I have an article that was out years ago that was published in the, I think it was it Homeopathy? It was Homeopathy Today, I don't know, 20-some years ago. It was quite a while ago because my son, who's now 32, was a small child in the image, in the photograph, in the article. And we talked about our flock of chickens getting cholera. And how did I treat them? So a flock means, you have a number. I want to say we had close to 30. And so when you have 30 chickens, it's you could individually administer the medicines inside. You open up the little beak. And I'm sorry, Floozy, you have to come over here for a minute. And I'm going to take her mask off. This is going to make her very nervous, but we're just going to, you can handle it, Floozy. Her real name is Influenza, but we call her Floozy. Yeah, she's a little nervous. So we don't just do it like this. We don't just put the remedy in her mouth. That would never do, right? But when our chickens got sick, let's see if we can get this out. Okay. I would get a dose. At the time, I used cuprum metallicum, which is specific for cholera. And I put it in some water, a few ounces, and allowed it to dissolve. So 1 dose. What's a dose? What is a dose, my friends? Whatever is written on the outside of the bottle is a dose. Some pharmacies say to use 3 to 5 pills. Other pharmacies say to use 1 pill. Some, if you get it in liquid, might say 15 drops. Others might say 5 to 10 drops. So whatever the pharmacy that you purchase, from which you purchase the remedy, tells you, that is a dose. And you put that dose into water. This looks like about 3 ounces or so, right? About 3 ounces perhaps, 4 ounces. Allow it to dissolve, stir it once, and then it can be administered to the chicken by giving her a sip. Now, that's not an easy thing to do. But what I did tell you, my friends, in that article, should you find it, is that the chickens that were dying, and they were dying quickly, I had my sons actually pick up each chicken one at a time, bring them to me, and I actually inserted the pills inside the little beaks. I put in, I think it was 2 or 3 pills inside the little beak, and then closed the mouth. And then held the chicken so that she got a dose. Then we would put that chicken aside and get the next chicken and again administer them in the pills, with pills. Why did I do it that way? Because I didn't have time to put the remedy in water, because the chickens were dying that quickly. Yes, they were dying so fast that we felt as though we had to administer them directly into the mouth of the chicken. So, but once we got the top, I think there were 4 or 5 of them that were dying. They were obviously dying, because now I was watching the progression of the slowing down, the diarrhea, the strange little gait that they had when they walked across the yard, then stopping and falling over, and then salivating, and then finally dying within very short order. I'm going to say that whole process was about a 20-minute progression of illness. Maybe it was a little bit more, but it was pretty close to, it was well under an hour. But then once we got all the chickens administered directly into their mouths, then we did indeed make a solution and put it in the water where the other chickens would get the medicine prophylactically. You see, if we had to wait for the chickens that were sickly to go to the water, they might never get it, so we had to administer it directly. We could also have put some of the water, as I said, with a dropper, a little pipette, a dropper, and once it was diluted, put that directly into the chickens' mouths. Once they we had gone through all of the 4 or 5 chickens that were seriously ill, were about to die, because we had already witnessed a couple of them having passed away in that same fashion. Then we came back round again and gave them another dose again, and I kept giving them dose after dose after dose. And we saved every chicken from the moment we started using cuprum metallicum. Every chicken had been saved, even though we had lost a number of them before that, before I realized what the disease was and what medicine to use. what homeopathic medicine to use. So that's a way to administer. Let's just see what people are saying here. I like to use 4-ounce amber bottles with droppers for my dog in her short little 10 months. I've had to use many remedies with her. Just today, she was stung by several bees after digging up a hive in our yard. Took a couple hours, but aconite, ledum, and apis saved our pup. Yes. Aconitum 200 I would use. That's probably what you did, Celeste. Hi, Celeste. Ledum 200 is what I would use, and apis could be a 30, a 200, or even a 1M. You bet. That's how this works. So let's see what else we've got. Any other questions? Ear issues. Plantago major. Put a few drops in and around the ear. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Yeah, Plantago is a great plant. I've used Aconitum 30. Arnica for the eye. That's exactly what we call it, Cheryl. Arnica is the, aconite is the arnica of the eye. Several times for my dog with a cherry eye has always resolved the acute issue. Yeah, that is so good. Yeah, that book looks extreme. Yeah, it is extreme. It's a very intense book, my friends, and there are also CDs involved included in as well. All right. My poor pup has been suffering with itch and ear issues. So let me tell you, when you look on my site, you're looking at the blog, or you simply just... So hold on right here. Stay right there, floozy. Joette Calabrese. What's the issue? Itch. Itchy skin. Joette Calabrese. Ear, whatever it is. I wouldn't call it ear issues. If it's pain, it's going to be painful ear or ear infection, or et cetera, et cetera. So if you can get the name of the condition a little tighter rather than just a broad statement such as issues, then you will find the homeopathic medicines that I use, regardless of whether it's a pup, a kitten, a llama, anything, any animal that has a condition. You can generally use the medicine that is used for the human. Okay, I think that is one of the most important pieces of information I want you to come away with tonight. Okay. Isn't the itchy skin sometimes from a rabies? Can be. Rabies can cause usually behavioral issues. Usually they become violent. And so, but it can be. I urge you to read Dr. James Tyler Burnett. Any of his books, but particularly the books he talks about the diseases that come from, etc. So, he was the medical doctor, conventionally trained medical doctor, who became 100% a homeopath late in the 1800s, and taught, because he worked in sanitariums and hospitals with hundreds of beds. He was able to use his experience and utilizing homeopathy and teaching from that vantage point. All righty, let's see what else we've got. Okay. I often fosters kittens who have diarrhea and or tapeworm. I've written what do you do for that? Joette Calabrese parasites. Joette Calabrese diarrhea. You will find exactly the same thing for humans as for animals. Humans are susceptible to parasites frequently. Absolutely. I don't know that I teach about heart murmur online. I teach about it in my academy. Let's see what else we've got here. Hello, my mighties. It's always wonderful to see all my mighties joining in here. I do ask you to please subscribe, like, comment, share. Really makes a big, big difference. Okay. Bladder infections, kidney conditions. It's exactly the same as it is for a human. Exactly. Even the potency. And I don't care whether or not it's a pup or it's a full German Shepherd. We are still going to use the same potency and same frequency. Do you understand? I hope you understand that. Because for those who have been confused, as I was years ago, by classical training, by being taught classical homeopathy, we were told you don't use a 200 on a child, you only use a low potency on a child, etc., etc. There certainly are circumstances, my friends, in which you would not use a high potency, of course, on a small animal or a baby animal. But generally speaking, when we're using protocols, we're going to use the protocol just as it is stated. Here we go. Thuya book by James Compton Burnett is fabulous, says Melissa. You're absolutely right. That's the book I'm talking about. All right. A lot of communications amongst you all. And then you should also be using a Materia Medica. This is my Materia Medica. You can get this on my site. And so I urge you to consider this if you don't have it. It's inexpensive, and it gives you a cursory look at many of the medicines. It's not going to give you the potency and the frequency because it doesn't talk about conditions per se or how to treat specific conditions, but like the survivalist guide does. But it does indeed help you determine whether or not you're on the right track in studying the medicine that you're about to use, which I always urge you to do. We don't just use these homeopathic medicines willy-nilly, my friends. We read up on them, make sure that it fits, and use the potency that is discussed. Also, there are other Materia Medicas that you can purchase. You can also use Materia Medicas by Dr. Boricke, B-O-E-R-I-C-K-E, that's free online, or Dr. Fatak, P-H-A-T-A-K. His Materia Medica is free online. I loved hearing your stories about Buster. Yeah, I had a lot of stories about Buster. He was my lab rat in many ways. Floozy, I'm trying to make Floozy more comfortable because, you know, it's hard when you hear about what's happening to other flocks of feathers, critters of the same feathers. And it's important that she calm down a little bit because it's a little hard on her to hear about all of that. A friend was telling me this morning that her old dog with sore joint that couldn't walk well is doing much better after she ordered a product called Jump for the Joints. It's a product for dog. The dog actually went in the stairs last week. I know nothing about that product, but I will tell you one of the best medicines known to mankind for joints is, tell me, my friends, you tell me, what is the best medicine for joint pain for dogs, the elderly, for anyone, but specifically for joint pain? All right. What to use for the very itchy nose while waiting for Cinna to work? Oh, Tucrium. Tucrium is a great one. Thank you, Jersey May. Roost Tox. Thank you, Jennifer and Grace. Roost Tox. Yes, Roost Tox 200C, Roost Tox even 30. Roost Tox is one of our best medicines. And although I agree with using combination medicines, homeopathic combination medicines, because I don't know that name, that product, I'm not going to necessarily recommend it. I would urge people instead perhaps to use simply Roost Tox. Thank you, Linda and Jennifer and Grace and Jennifer again. Yep, very good. Nice responses. Here we go. Replying to Alice, okay. 85-pound dog with arthritis. 85-pound dog, 85-pound old woman. 150-pound man who's 90 years old with arthritis. Arthritis is arthritis is arthritis. My friends, it matters not how many pounds the person weighs. It's still the same medicine used in exactly the same fashion. And another way to find is Joette Calabrese-arthritis. Joette Calabrese joint pain. I love to be able to help you here, but my friends, I can't urge you enough to hang out online and just use my name for any condition that shows up. It's free. It's free. I don't have any affiliate program with anyone. It's completely free. And when you go to the remedy and you click on it, it might take you to boron. It might take you to Amazon. It might take you to other places. I do not get a kickback. That's not my shtick. I don't like that style. So when I give you this information, it is pure information and that only. I am not motivated by getting paid with an affiliate in an affiliate program. Here we go. My 17-year-old cat was brought back from the brink of death 3 months ago with homeopathy. Heparsulf and belladonna cured his eye abscess. Euphrasia improved the eye, and arnica's helping him with discomfort. You bet. Nice job, Alice. Nice job. The Banerjee protocol for arthritis on my dog worked like a miracle. I then wondered if I should have given it to her as my 15-year-old dog was now running around like a pup. Had to remind her she was an old girl and needed to take it easy. Can anyone link me to or live link of last Monday on restless legs and cramps below? What you do is just go to YouTube, Joette Calabrese restless legs, Joette Calabrese leg cramps. Oh, I love it, Becky. You're calling instead of it roost tax, you're calling it roost. Ah, roost tax. Oh, that's funny. Very good. Oh, I swear, people are great. Tara says, yes, Symphytum 200 and Roostox 30 twice daily. Exactly how this works, my friends. All right, Symphytum and Roostox. Pain, fibromyalgia. Same thing. Same thing, my friends. Fibromyalgia, even though it's not a joint, it's the fibrous tissue that is ow, 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 tender. Same remedy. Even though I've been saying joints, it can also be used for fibrous tissue as well. My interest in homeopathy many years ago began when I was looking for answers on how to help my elderly dog having difficulty walking. It's how you learn. You know, my father had a very dear friend years ago who was a pretty well-known, internationally well-known cardiologist who authored a number of books on cardiology and spent most of his later years in his career traveling the world and teaching from his teaching using his textbooks. And he once told my father that the way to find health is to get good and sick and then climb out of it. Figure out how to get better. You figure out how to get better, not someone else. You figure it out. And it's the same thing. Your dog gets sick, you must find a solution. Or you could simply just give steroids, certainly, right? Cured 2 French Bouvier dogs that had mange with sulfur 30. Caromont, oh my gosh, that is such a, I'm so glad you brought that up. Mange is, we use sulfur for mange. We live in a place where we see wild fox, obviously they're wild, running about in our area. And I saw a fox the other day. I said, oh my gosh, if I could just put something out for that fox, I would put sulfur 30 in some water and hopefully the fox would take it. Homeopathy is so empowering, especially in this day of less than effective allopathic medicines. We were never meant, my friends, to be taking synthetic drugs of commerce. See, I remember, I'm old enough to remember that when people did not take drugs, or it was very rare. My grandparents on both sides gave birth to their large families at home births. When their children got sick, they didn't use homeopathy, they didn't know about it, they used herbs, or they made bone stock, or they simply put the child to bed and let the child sweat it out so that the child could live a nice long life instead of a life that was shortened by the use of suppression, or as a result of suppression by the use of drugs used earlier on in life. Thank you, Carol. Joette, what is another flea protocol? Serinum, ledum, antimonium crude has not worked for 6 months. Oh, Kari, it is very frustrating. When Buster got fleas when he was younger, I just used some of the medicines that I've talked about in my protocol, on my blog, and they worked swimmingly. But as he got older, it got harder and harder. And I think it was probably because he had gut problems. Well, he was 18 and a half when he passed away, and we had to be very careful. We didn't even let him outside any longer because every time he went outside, I mean, we had a little patio, but every time he went outside, he would get fleas because he was so infirm. There are other medicines, if you want to look up in the repertory for fleas. Pulex can be very, yes, Pulex. Yep, you could use that. Pulex for 6 weeks. Yeah, oh, Kari's saying no shift after using that. One of the problems with fleas, of course, is that they are spread all around and the fleas jump back on again, so it's a matter of vacuuming and cleaning. And I will go more into fleas at a later time so that I can get a little bit more specific about it. I'm sorry to make you wait, but it's a little more involved than what I can just give you tonight. My dog had a papilloma wart in the inside outer edge of her floppy ear. A friend said that it was a skin tag, but I thought it was an abscess. I treated her with Kelk Sulf and watched it dry up and shrink until it was gone. I showed a picture of it to the vet. She said, papilloma. Diane, nice job. Okay, my friends, we'll be talking about the issues that Floozy is concerned about, and I guess we'll talk about fleas at some point too. My goodness, it's wonderful to see you all. I say God bless you all. Please share this and comment. I know that you do comment, and like it and pass it along to other people. It's important that we get this information out there as much as we possibly can. I'm rather excited tonight. We just opened our 2025 class of the Academy. This is year 4 of our Academy. We have well over 90 students in the Academy, for which we're very excited. Well over. I thought it was 90 this evening, and then I learned from my husband, no, there have been several more who have just joined the Academy for a year-long program. And so should you ever be interested in that program, do contact us. Talk to you soon. God bless you all. Bye now.
With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. My family needs me, so I must know our remedies. How much to take, how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With our homeopathic protocols, you learn your remedies. No dairy, it's elementary with arnica head, arsenica fed, spigelia slither, orms from wither, no more infirm. My family needs me, so I improve my memory. Not only the rems, but how often to treat, and when to stop, and when to repeat. With your homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies. Bellaso red and arnica head, drosera bark, ignatia dark, source of frigid and cuprum to rigid, and crude itches, cali caponicum, let it melt on your gumbo, vista weed are some great ways to treat ya. La 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 la, homeopathic protocols, learn your remedies.